As Megumi, Yuji, and Nobara walk outside, Yuji tries to convince Nobara to accompany him to watch a movie based on a human earthworm. He even narrates the entire plot to have her interest develop in the Wormo Man. But Nobara leaves to shop. A girl stands on the other side of the road, surprised to see Yuji. Mei and Aoi proudly recommend Maki, Panda, Megumi, Nobara, and Yuji to be trained and upgraded to first grade sorcerers. Aoi is excited to have Yuji around so the besties can finally get to work together, but Mei bursts his excitement bubble by announcing that the recommenders are not allowed to work with the ones they recommend. Nobara is enjoying her day shopping around when the same girl from before spontaneously questions her about Yuji. Nobara is a little surprised at the sudden appearance, but talks to the girl. She is Yuji's former classmate, Yuko Ozawa. Ozawa used to be fat back in middle school, but her weight and height shifted drastically after moving to Tokyo. The conversation makes Nobara realize Ozawa is interested in Yuji romantically, so she does what any friend would do, calls the third friend, Megumi. Megumi appears there ready to act bratty with her, but the moment Nobara mentions the situation in a blah blah manner, Megumi takes a seat, invested in the tea. After an interrogation of Megumi about Yuji not having a girlfriend and being interested in taller girls, the two girls conclude Ozawa has a chance. Nobara curtly orders Yuji to appear there. Yuji enters the restaurant pretty soon, but Nobara is scared of him not recognizing Ozawa. In a very slight glimpse of her, Yuji recognizes Ozawa. 10 points for the coincidence. Ozawa has always been interested in Yuji, especially ever since he told his friends her weight didn't matter as her manners were cute. Ozawa notices her hypocrisy of body shaming herself, as she thinks she may have a chance with Yuji due to her transformation. After dropping Ozawa at the station, Yuji catches up to his two friends, acting like they are all happily going to watch Wormo Man, while the two still deny doing so. On Gojo's request, Utahime brings Megumi, Nobara, and Yuji to Kyoto to investigate the moles on the sorcerers that have been leaking information. Her assessment concluded the only potential suspect could be Mekamaru, the one whose real body lies isolated from his puppet self. Mekamaru's real self, Kokichi, lives in a basement where the four reach to interrogate him. Kokichi indeed gets some guests, but they are not the four, but two other people, Geto and Mahito. As Yuji opens the door to where Mekamaru should be, the room is empty. Even though they couldn't catch Mekamaru, this gave them the surety that indeed the culprit they were looking for was Mekamaru. Mekamaru welcomes Mahito and Geto after the long wait they put him through, but even though they didn't want to, they had to come back. Mahito had formed a pact with Mekamaru that he would fix Mekamaru's body once he gave them the information they needed. Since breaking a pact can affect both parties, Mahito cannot simply kill him, so he decides to fix Mekamaru and then kill him. Using his transfiguration ability, he fixes Mekamaru's ability, bringing him back to his legs after years. Not wasting any time, Mekamaru orders his puppets to charge at Mahito. They do as tell, but it is not as easy to take down Mahito. He casually dodges and defeats all of them, but feels a little annoyed upon seeing Mekamaru disappear. Mahito's thoughts of chasing down Mekamaru are cut short when the ground breaks, making him fall outside the building. Mahito excitedly stands back and faces the huge robot that Mekamaru built, collecting 17 years of his cursed energy. Now he is determined to get in contact with Gojo and aware him of the Shibuya plot. Mahito keeps dodging Mekamaru's attacks and punches his huge body back. Now that Mekamaru can see Mahito is not taking him seriously, he uses the secret attack he has been hiding up his sleeve. Using his robot arm, he shoots a cylindrical bullet at Mahito. It hits him in the shoulder. Mahito reminds Mekamaru that these attacks are worthless to him, but are they? Suddenly, Mahito's arms are blown away by the bullet that went inside his body, this time striking his soul along with his body. Mahito is shocked, but Mekamaru does not plan to stop there. His attacks keep chasing Mahito, whether he is a bird, a rabbit, a rat, or a bat. Mahito manages to hurt Mekamaru's huge body a little, but this doesn't faze his determination. Mekamaru punches him from afar and uses the moment to turn his arm into a drill and charge at a vulnerable Mahito. Right before Mahito could get hit, he uses his domain expansion and struck Mekamaru's huge robot with his multiple hands, dropping it to the ground. Mechamaru lies there helpless, while Mahito enjoys the awesomeness of his domain expansion. Even though hurt, Mechamaru still thinks of the one trick they were taught in school but never allowed to share with anyone. A trick that could help him save themselves from getting killed or harmed in the opponent's domains. Mahito is unaware that Mechamaru can cast a simple domain expansion in the middle of his domain. So, as he walks away, the drill strikes him in the back, leaving him shocked for more than one reason. Geto is amazed by Mechamaru, making it seem like he is supporting Mechamaru. In the wilderness of finally outsmarting Mahito, Mechamaru seems confident enough to get rid of Geto too. He faces Geto, who calmly observes him but still doesn't manage to hit him. Mahito transfigures himself into a similar drill, hurting the huge puppet of Mechamaru as well as him inside it, all because Mechamaru didn't make sure if he finished off Mahito. Mechamaru uses his puppets to buy himself time to get rid of the drill attacking him. Then Mahito and Mechamaru charge at each other at the same time. Miwa talks to the puppet Mechamaru in school about wanting to know him more and visit his real self. This little bit clearly shows who lost the battle and his life. On the night of Halloween, a veil is dropped in the center of Tokyo that traps the regular people inside it. Only the sorcerers are allowed to move in and out of the veil. Since the signals are blocked inside the veil, the sorcerers use informants to get intel on the situation inside the veil, and decide to stay on guard on all sides of the veil in teams of 2 and 3. The message from inside the veil only states one thing: bring Goju Satoru. Since the non-sorcerers don't even know who Goju is, it's obvious that they are being told to say so. The only good part of it is that no loss of lives or violence has occurred inside the veil yet. Some of the people inside the veil are relaxed as long as they are safe, but one of them seems to be creating chaos and headache for others by banging on the veil walls to bring Gojo just because he was told that's the only way to be free. His argument with others is disturbed when a hand reaches inside the veil, accidentally pushing him down. Cue the arrival of the much-awaited Gojo Satoru inside the veil. Gojo figures there are 2 veils, one of which is not even allowing the sorcerers to get inside. Gojo casually floats on the heads of people, scaring them as if he'll step on them. Then he analyzes the situation, understanding it but deciding to play along. Yuji, Mei and Yui are ready to go back to Gojo when the veil situation is dropped as their responsibility to handle. Yui is so fascinated by Mei that he believes Gojo shouldn't make her run around like she's an ordinary woman, talking about confidence. Gojo lands down on the track, facing Jogo, Choso, and Hanami. Gojo mocks Jogo for not making excuses for losing this time, and Jogo shows the audacity to use the same statement against the Gojo Satoru. Yuji and Mei are guided about the situation at Meiji Station, and there being transfigured humans in there too. Between the 2 veils is probably the person who landed the spirits. Mei uses her crow's perception to analyze the situation underground, till her crows are killed by whoever is present between the veils. Their doubts weigh highly toward it being the patch face, aka Mahito. Knowing Yuji wouldn't opt for hurting transfigured humans, she chooses to deal with them herself and sends Yuji to fight the cursed spirit. Down the tunnel, Yuji faces a grasshopper spirit munching on a human. The spirit turns toward him, referring to Yuji as a Jujutsu sorcerer. We officially have the correct name for these sorcerers. The spirit keeps calling himself clever, unlike other spirits, and guarding the veil. Yuji notices the nail-like thing in the ground that this spirit must be guarding. The spirit hints towards Mahito not being the one casting the veils. Yuji then attacks the spirit, wanting to get done faster. The spirit, fixating on being clever, tries to prove him dumb by asking his spirit kind. Yuji points out the obvious, that he looks like a grasshopper. To say the spirit was jaw-dropped level of shock at this proves how clever he is. However, it's not very dumb in fighting either. So, the 2 get into a good combat. This is followed by a battle of 4 arms versus 2, but surprisingly, 2 arms manage to hit the one with sharper senses. Lastly, the spirit tries to use his sharp abdomen to beat Yuji, but Yuji manages to kill the spirit and destroy the veil. This is accompanied on the other end by Mei, lifting this one veil. The spirits surround Gojo, but he assures them he won't run, as why else would he be there? The actual plan turns out to be surrounding Gojo with non-sorcerers rather than isolating him, as Gojo can use his skills, reverse technique, and domain expansion perfectly when alone. But if he has innocent people surrounding him, he won't use techniques that could kill them. nor will he use his full potential in attacks. He will be restricted in defense. No. This plan is not discussed in some shady place with heavy tension, but in a park full of children as our villains blow out bubbles and skip around. Using the bait of people surrounding Gojo, Choso uses his blood slicing technique. Gojo doesn't even let it touch him, but this is followed by Hanami and Jogo punching him in sync, or maybe trying to punch him since it cannot reach Gojo. They try domain amplification to use their other hands to hit Gojo, but Gojo stands there still and unamused, with only a little mock chuckle escaping his lips. He then moves away from there and stands on a height beside them. Jogo tries to threaten him to not move by killing a person, but Gojo is busy mocking the audacity of the Baldi to think they could defeat him when this is all they got. Jogo just smiles at this, recalling Geto's words of stalling Gojo for 20 minutes, and the rest will be the business of him and the prison realm. We are given a brief review of how everyone views Gojo. Well, other than Yuji, who finds him the best and his savior. Everyone else considers him an idiot, immature, non-serious, egotistical dude who likes to mess with others. But even with all these colorful traits, one thing in everyone's opinion is common. Gojo Satoru is the strongest. With his veil off, Gojo glares at these cursed spirits ready to get rid of them. He singles out Hanami, openly declaring he is going to get rid of her first. Gojo then walks up to Hanami, and Jogo stands in the middle, reminding them they only told him not to run. The two attack Gojo, but instead of targeting Hanami, Gojo breaks Jogo's arms and chases him to get him down. Hanami notices that he must have done this to mess with them and decides to drop her domain amplification and attack Gojo using her technique. Jogo tries to warn her, but Gojo grins with the craziest possible expressions and takes only an instant to jump at Hanami from far away, tearing out her two little trunks from the face. Gojo used the bait to get her to drop the domain amplification that had been protecting her so he could weaken her powers. He knew Hanami couldn't use both things simultaneously. However, Jogo didn't get worked up and kept himself protected. Meanwhile, Gojo ignores Choso since he isn't a cursed spirit. Jogo and Hanami attack Gojo simultaneously, but he smirks at them, that the more they try to neutralize his attacks, the greater will be the strength he'd use. Knowing he already harmed Hanami enough, he moves toward her, still neither of them being able to touch him. He slams Hanami into the wall with just his energy, and keeps applying more force like a maniac, until Hanami explodes into nothing. Geto had told the three that they aim to keep Gojo around the prison realm for 1 minute, and then he'd be sealed in it. But Jogo was aware it was almost an impossible thing to do unless they were sacrificed, or Geto had something else up his sleeve. Jogo runs after Gojo and darkly mentions next, as if on some duty. As Jogo runs around and Choso harms non-sorcerers like this, Gojo knows he will need to exercise some of them himself to handle the situation. Geto observes from the dark, knowing he needs Gojo more on edge before activating the seal. Yuji finds a worried human who mentions a bunch of people being transfigured into monsters, loaded up into a train and taken off. Yuji realizes they are headed towards Gojo. Gojo is surprised to hear the announcement of a train appearing, as people are happy thinking it's finally a way out. Their fear is renewed by a bunch of monsters appearing. Mahito jumps out, enjoying the situation as if he's in a carnival. He tries to attack Gojo and is happy to finally witness that he actually can't touch him. All of these cursed spirits assume Gojo won't use his domain expansion, as he wouldn't want murder on his hands, but boy, they were wrong. It's unbelievable that Gojo Satoru decided to use Infinite Void for 0.2 of a second, as his instincts told him that this is what it would take to not harm the non-sorcerers entering his domain. In these moments, Gojo is super fast in destroying all of those transfigured monsters. As he breathes heavily after succeeding, he notices a small box figure in front of him that opens spontaneously, revealing the prison realm gate. Gojo understands and is about to walk away until the most heartbreaking move is used upon him. Geto Suguru talking to his Satoru as if meeting an old friend. Gojo cannot believe what he's seeing, but as he takes a moment to realize it's his real body and not some transformation, Gojo smiles for a moment, reminiscing all the happy memories with his best friend. This turns out to be the most expensive minute of hope for Gojo, as he is trapped in the prison realm now. With hurt visible on his face and in his eyes, he says that his 6 eyes tell him it is Geto Suguru standing in front of him, but his soul tells him otherwise. This is the moment the stitches on Geto's forehead are removed to reveal Kenjaku in the place of Geto's brain. Since Geto's body was not disposed of properly, Kenjaku took over his body to make use of his skills. Now that Gojo is sealed, this new Geto tells him he might release him in 100 or 1,000 years when he is done with his plans, but till then, Gojo is too strong to be left free. Gojo chuckled, reminding him it wasn't him who beat the body Kenjaku was currently controlling brutally before Gojo killed him. But Geto does not consider Yuta qualified enough to be considered a danger like Gojo. Gojo, however, is confident about that. Yuji gets alarmed out of nowhere when he hears a voice in his ear. It directs him to reveal Gojo Satoru has been sealed. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Remember to hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the latest content. Stay tuned for our next video, and until next time, take care.